women make lesser than men.
In an environment which is more dominated by male colleagues, I think we had almost 35% of ladies.
He is the CEO of Kaynes Semiconductor, 28,000 crore market cap company. This entire episode, the architect is Raghu.
They score the highest marks. They get married. They start seeing real practical issues. That confidence, I think, we had to rebuild.
How can organizations better support women in bridging these gaps?
95% of the employment is women.
I'm going to have 95% women. I see it more like a marketing ploy.
We ensured that we brought up the 8% of the women empowerment to 35%. We didn't compromise on the quality. It was not a feminist kind of a.
What is the advantage of having women lead? Is marriage necessary for personal fulfillment?
So you name the field and women have been there. I think the societal expectations on the marriage is evolving. Gone are the days where people look for status.
Career should never be an option for women. What would you advise them?
When you handshake, the touch matters. A large portion of people don't leave you for money.
In terms of choosing a partner,
I believe that the girl should meet as many people as they would like to meet, as many people as they would like to love, and then finally settle down.
There are skills that a woman picks up when she's on a break. Women don't lack competence. Women are extremely competent. Competence alone is not sufficient.
You're not doing a favor.
women are pressured to quit their jobs.
Pressure will always be there when you choose to be professional. Managing stress is an art, not to give up.
Find a passion, find a mentor, communicate with your family.
Career gap is okay, but grow with it.
When you take a career gap, it should be a bounce back.
Fortunately, none of you are feminists here. Should they delay family life till they get settled in a career, or should they start family life and let it go in parallel? Should you marry an equal or somebody who is making more money? Career or personal life?
The curvy career is okay.
Hey, all of you, welcome again for another episode of Titan Talk. Today, again, another women's episode. Here we want to, kind of talk about career gaps that affect women's career. So generally, it is said that, women make lesser than men when they reach top positions. But the actual effect why they get paid lesser is because of multiple career gaps which are not forced. It's kind of mandatory in a woman's life. And during those career gaps, how do you avoid those career gaps, or how do you mitigate the effects of those career gaps, is something that we wanted to talk today. And we have a set of leaders from semiconductor and HR today, and we have CEO of Kaynes Semiconductor, Raghu, as well, joining us today. So he's the architect of this entire issue, episode. He had invited all of them personally, and he wants to introduce all of them and then give something about them that is not on LinkedIn, that is definitely worth remembering. And also, I wanted to understand from Raghu on building such a big company, what is the importance of women's leadership and why women leaders are important in the organization's larger picture, and how do we do it. And on a personal level, Raghu's daughter is entering into workforce, so I want to understand it from him as well. Raghu, you might want to introduce all of them and then go from there.
Thank you. Thanks, Gautam. I will start first to introduce Asha because she said something good about me year over year. But then Asha is the person that I've known the longest amongst all of you all. I still remember Asha when you joined. We had a very interesting win that we had to do at a customer place, and okay, so Asha that I know of was Asha BP, and then she moved out to becoming Asha Athreya. You come from NPS, Rajaji Nagar, went on to study at PES. Why I want to say all this is that not that I'm promoting PES or promoting NPS. Kid that goes about a good education, naturally will come out to be the best person in life. And incidentally, both of us share the same birthday. And that's also besides the point, because I would like to put a reference. Modi also has a similar birthday. So there's a reference for good or bad for both of us. Now, both of us only talk once a year. We wish each other, she will call me Raghu Saab, I'll call her ma'am. And that's we end the year by wishing or WhatsApping or messaging and stuff. But then, going back to the company that Ravi started, Inspiration Technology, you went on to win that for us. Now, besides the point of the technology or the customer and all that, winning was that what we both saw, me and Vishwa saw. And we were very clear that if we put you, we will win. So you demonstrated that during your first engagement, talking of 2000, 2001.
2001.
So that's the Asha that has imprinted on me. Days and years went by. You went on to work for multiple companies, Open Silicon, twice Intel, NXP, and all that stuff. And then we reconnected back, I think 3-4 years back, and for want of a better word, whether it is mentorship or whatever, we started to connect on certain dynamics within the org and stuff like that, right? And then we set about a certain planned approach, and that was a learning for me, honestly. Every discussion that we have had about certain individuals and challenging situation, I think I learned a lot, and that's what I know about you. And I truly believe that you should tell your story of the winning and the challenges that you would have gone through in multiple companies in an environment which is more dominated by male colleagues, without taking the name though. I think your story should be well told to the current generation that either semiconductor or non-semiconductor doesn't matter, but that story needs to be told in this panel, and that's what we believe you are here for.
Thank you, Raghu sir.
You can introduce all
Okay.
of them.
Uh,
I
it is
wait.
tough now to pick. It is tough to pick between Veena ma'am and Savita ma'am, but let me start with Veena ma'am. If you look at it, you have an amazing amalgamation of research, education, and bringing that into industry. Not many times institute would promote somebody like you as a researcher to go and work in an organization and keep both of them moving. I think BNMIT needs to be given that credit of making you do that, right? And our association started during mentor days when we came and hired a couple of students that were working for you, studying for you for a good 5-6 years, and that association of us and seeing you working for Asarva, working for Sensemi, and all that. I think something of that, if you tell, students should like to hear it. And also the institutes, because you all started that, I think, 15 years back. And a researcher coming to an organization and imparting that, whatever you learned, and it was aiding the startup to help and stuff. So that is something that I think, Veena ma'am, you should tell.
Yeah, sure.
And what else? Going to BNMIT, the experience for ours was during that time we were all male dominated within the organization. We put a plan in place that we were hiring associate engineers and associate account managers. We were very clear. If you get a guy and a girl, same level, chuck the guy and get the girl. And we did that for 7-8 years. And then 2019, when I moved out, I think we had almost 35% of our colleagues who were ladies within the organization. I think that was, and I think we came to BNMIT for multiple years, right? And that's the warmth that we offer BNMIT. So please tell your story today. Bring out all that. If you've forgotten something, please bring that out.
Sure.
And ma'am comes from another interesting person who's married her and who's also is the registrar of PS and then BNMIT and stuff like that. And I've interacted with him for multiple times and stuff like that. And the warmth that sir brings about is, Sridhar, right?
Yeah.
Brings about is very, very amazing. Bring that out as well. Going back to ma'am, we've had relationships more like a customer and a vendor, which was more like a partnership.
Right.
I used to drive down, and I've seen you during SLN Murthy's sir's time.
Right.
During that time, the way you set up the engineering organization, I think you worked in a few organizations which has changed avatar, right? The
Yeah.
ECAD becoming Sienna ECAD and now
does, yeah.
and all that. ECAD technologies, multiple avatars,
Right.
right? So you know that organization very well. My interaction has always been to set up technologies, environment, and stuff. All my interaction during those times have made me rich a lot. To how to sit and negotiate with you was my toughest thing because you were a tough negotiator, right? And she would do certain things, right? She will always use her boss
Okay.
to say that, he. I knew that it was you, it was nobody else, but then you played it out very well. And I think we both together built an environment for that organization.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're doing pretty well there. And congratulations to you.
Yeah, and thanks to Raghu because see, I learned a lot from you. The patience, the way you talk, right? Not getting disturbed. So that's very, very important to be in leadership role.
Please come home. My kids will tell you how patient I am. Okay, so last but not the least, Bhanupriya, I've known you the lesser number of months, but I've known you for a larger number of hours, right? So we got interacted through a very bizarre LinkedIn message of saying that she would like to know the industry and stuff like that. And from there, I think we set out a path of how a talent acquisition and how a center of excellence in semiconductor manufacturing would work. And I think during that process, I got to know you. And by the way, her son and both of us share the same birthday. So you have a reason to call her on 17th September. So, and I believe that, the path that you have set up, the journey that you have set up in the last 20, 25 years, 10 years of your working, 10 years before that you're studying, and now your entrepreneurship. Please share that story. You have a lot more dynamics that you have faced through. So tell that story, let the world hear. So
Sure, sir.
that's Bhanupriya.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So to tell about you, he's the CEO of Kaynes Semiconductor. A 28,000 crore market cap company is what he's done. I had to sit next in a suit so that people would see me also because we're in the same frame. And it is also very imperative to kind of tell that he has gone beyond his measures to invite the guests and talk to all of them. So this entire episode, I'm just here orchestrating it, but the architect is Raghu. And with that, I would like to start and talk about career gaps and how women can kind of go about it. So I'd like to start off with Savita. So Savita, I wanted to understand what has been your experience with career gaps and how do you think that affects the women's chances of reaching leadership roles?
Yeah, this see when Raghu spoke to me regarding this subject, I was really very interested because this is what always runs in mind as well. So leading the role in Sienna ECAD. So always not only okay what we do day to day activities, but other than that, always there is in back of my mind. Okay, girls especially they study so well in their educational time, they do the best, they score the highest marks, and when they come to work also, when we take young girls engineers, so they will be so enthusiastic and they will be so interested to start the work. But after once they get married, they start seeing real practical issues. Otherwise, until then they will be so carefree, very happily working. Then they start, so many things starts and they want to quit the job, they want to take lighter role, all that starts. But this always used to run in my mind. Maybe it's 3 years back. I work very closely with IPC. Through IPC, again, we had certain such, we took some initiatives. And also in my organization, also I'm taking initiative. At least 40% should be women. So, and also I'm giving opportunity to whoever have this gap. That's where I felt it's very, very close, this topic to me. Yeah.
Got it. How do you think, especially career gaps, what are the career gaps that you see affect women the most? And what kind of career gaps, if they can mitigate to reach leadership potential and positions? Savita?
Okay, I'll give it the example. Okay, 2 years back on Women's Day, so we wanted to start a project like having whoever have left have at least 10-15 years gap in their career. We reached out to them with our colleagues, okay, whomever they can refer. We reached out to them, and they were working in very good, maybe in government organizations or any other organizations with electronics background. Then they had left because of family, kids, and now their kids are in engineering or colleges. Now they wanted to come back. But what we found, at least 10 of them we could identify and started. But because of this gap, already they started feeling, okay, it's I can't get it, okay, it's already I have too much gap. Then some of them we called them and again trained them. That training is very important to bring that confidence back. Otherwise they start feeling, okay, there is so much gap. I don't know what happened in the industry. Already 10 years has gone. I would have left behind my friends. Other friends are working, they're in bigger position now. Okay, this that confidence, I think we had to rebuild. It's nothing, actually nothing has gone.
Got it. It is common, men tend to overshoot, women tend to undershoot because, you know, I see that as a thing that they lose confidence entirely, that, probably I'm totally disconnected from the industry. And do you think these career gaps, are there any career gaps? Like, for example, if you say during marriage, when marry, is it a conscious decision that you should choose to marry somebody within your same city, so there is no movement of cities, or there is gap in the in your career just because you're getting married, which is one avoidable thing? And then maternity, probably that we can discuss later. But during the marriage phase, how important do you think is marriage or choosing your partner for your career?
Yeah, Gautam, that's very, very important topic. But what happens? Marriage is made in heaven. You don't know whom you get married, right? But still, if at all there is a choice, okay, then it's always it's good that way. Life is very comfortable. Having this ecosystem, especially if women have to work, ecosystem has to be there. There should be support system, not only just husband to take care of children. If their grandparents are available or siblings, somebody is available, then it's much easier to take up a leadership role, and you don't have a back of mind, you don't run this pressure, unwanted tension, all that, right, psychologically. So marrying and getting, if there is a choice, it's good to be in right ecosystem. If I am from Bangalore, I go and marry somebody in Delhi, then I had to deal with everything around me. Right here, I had that opportunity for me. That's one of the biggest advantage I got.
Got it. That's helpful. So, Banu, coming to you, right? How can organizations better support women in bridging these gaps without hindering their potential for progressing into leadership roles?
Okay, Gautam, to answer your question, I'm running an organization called Perceptive Solutions, where I have ensured that 95% of the employment is women. So they might be single parent, they might be having some family issues related to their financial support, or they might be very well happy in their family. But irrespective of that, they do not want to go to the office and work. They want to have a system where they can operate from home, but they can give their complete support there and contribute, and they can upskill themselves. So for the organization, if that person, for example, there is a college student who joins initially and there is a career gap she takes, it is equally responsible for an organization to understand, okay, this is a genuine resource or this is a very talented resource. I have to ensure this resource is retained. For that, organization should ensure that when they are going on a career gap, they have to upskill them. For instance, they have to there are many courses which the employee can take even during their career gap, whether that might be maternity gap or a marriage break. They can learn, go through certain broadcasts, they can actually go through certain courses being at home itself. And once they are ready to come back to the industry, the organization can observe them because they know they have worked with that person earlier, so they know their plus and minus, strength and weakness, so that can be improved over that break and they can be retained back. So that way the hiring cost, which we actually work on, for many companies, hiring cost plays a major role. People leave, people join, people leave, people join. During this, the talent acquisition part which takes place, the hiring cost, that can be actually reduced if they know, okay, this is a genuine resource, okay, irrespective of the career gap, we can have them back. If they make that as a mandatory one, these things can be taken care.
So, one more quick follow up question on that. When you make a decision consciously that I'm going to have 95% women in my organization and I'm going to do this, are you, in any way, is there a compromise on the quality, or, is the search tougher when you have a mandate like that? And when you are, so how I see it is that these large IT companies are suddenly, like women back to work, women who have had breaks, suddenly you come back. And this, I see it more like a marketing ploy. It was not that women had breaks only today. They've been having it for the last, ever since mankind was there. These guys did not bother about them when all of that was happening. Now the cost of resources went high, the cost of people went high, and then there are not a lot of good talent joining them. Suddenly they want to, wrap it like, women back to work, so that they will get underpriced talent, so that they can, leverage it. That is how I look at it.
Uh,
So that's why I wanted to ask you on that
No,
aspect.
not really, Gautam. So before joining Perceptives, I was with GSK. So in GSK, that was the COVID second stage. We ensured that we brought up the 8% of the women empowerment to 35%. The diversity hiring, what we called, we run the program because we understood when we were running on the projects, what happened during the COVID was people were opting for work from home, and during that, moonlighting was a common thing, and there was a lot of issues going on the projects. So since that is a pharma company, there were a lot of internal conflict also related to R&D. So that way we figured out there were a lot of women resource who quit during COVID or who are opting only for work from home because of the maternity or XYZ reason. So for that, to figure out that, we run a program that is diversity back to work, and we ensured from the 8% it reached to 35%. We didn't compromise on the quality, we didn't compromise on the pay. We ensured the right resource get paid equally. And it was not a feminist kind of a thing, it was more of giving the right opportunity to the right person. And that is what I implemented when I started Perceptives. In Perceptives, all the people whomever I'm associated with or working here, they have been a very good amazing people. I have worked with them earlier, couple of them are freshers. They come with that passion. It's more of to do with passion. Either I'm sitting at home, okay, I have my elderly parents to take care, I have a kid to take care, but I ensure that I have a passion that I have to do this, I have to reach a certain stage irrespective of the situation. So if that is there, it will drive them. So there is nothing to do be compromised on. But what you said, I totally understand that. I totally agree also to certain extent, but not completely.
Got it. So now I want to switch it back to Raghu. So Raghu, you are running a large organization with a large this whole diversity hiring. Is it, a marketing ploy, or is it, what is the need for that in an organization? And even when you were introducing, you were telling that, if I had we had a thing when a girl and a boy are equal, then we go for the girl. Was there any specific reason, and what is the advantage of having women leaders in the organization as a at a larger level?
Okay, thanks, Gautam. I'll touch upon the first point where you were introducing that women leaders are not being paid much. I'm not allowed to share some of the salary figures, but then I'm sure four of them are earning much, much bigger than the men around them. Right, Asha?
Yes.
So,
It was so small, not okay.
I think we'll put that to rest. I'm sure we're talking of a larger percentage and not the four leaders who are sitting here. Some of them are running businesses and they can take whatever salary they would want and stuff like that, right? So that's besides the point. Now, to come about to your point, that was a ploy, that was a strategy that we put in mentor graphics because, it was 100% male dominated. And then we had to bring in young graduates. And if it is lady graduates, it's much better for us. So that was we did in mentor. But now looking at Kaynes, when we are setting up the organization, there are two, three things that we have thought through. Certain functions or a process in the electronics manufacturing is well done by people who have large patience, people who are more focused, and stuff like that. So, there we want to bring in only lady colleagues. I'm not saying that men are not patient, men are not focused, but on a larger percentage, we've seen that. So, to that effect, in the entire 10-step process, maybe 3, 4 processes, I believe that, if you have a lady colleague there, that would be very, very helpful and effective. Not that in the other processes ladies cannot come in, right? They are welcome to come in. We go with an approach that whoever comes best and stuff like that. More than looking at a lady, more than looking at a guy, when we are starting to hire freshers, we more or less look at the attitude of the person. How the person is conducting himself or herself when we are talking, leaving aside the family background, leaving aside where the background that they come from. That is one thing because rest all can be taught. You can, 4 years they would have studied pretty much what they want to learn, ma'am, right? So from there on, what attitude that they're bringing in the organization, that would matter a lot as we set up this organization. In Keynes itself, we would have 40 to 45% as lady colleagues within our organization, and that also to tell a fact that there are skilled and semi-skilled, the diploma and ITI, where there is even doubt. There are a lot of ladies that work there. In our Hyderabad factory that we inaugurated on Friday, we hired 30 uh, women freshers from college in and around Telangana, brought them to Mysore, trained them, and then they're working in Telangana. Now, quite incidentally, when the IT minister came around to look at the factory, it was so easy for us because they were talking in Telugu. And that was not intended, it just happened. And now I have a story to tell about this. So, he was very happy to hear them talk in Telugu. Not that they can talk in English also, but then so that's the ecosystem we are creating. Where we go to a location, we try to hire a large percentage from that region, so that electronics should go there as well. And we are going to tier 2, tier 3 cities. So that's where what we are doing.
Got it. How how important is it for an organization to have women leaders, and how does it kind of set the organization apart from just having male leaders?
So at least in Keynes, it'll more easier because my chairman is a lady, is a woman, chairman of the board. Incident is that the chairman is married to the managing director and the promoter. So, but then be it. But she brings in a whole lot of these changes. She being at the helm is very easy for us at least. I'm not saying if Ramesh was at the helm, he wouldn't have agreed, but then that becomes a little more easier. Like Savita ma'am was telling, she being at the helm, she can bring in a lot of programs, right? So, yeah, what was the question?
As in, how important is it for an organization to have women leaders?
Yeah, so it's very important. The quality systems and standard within Keynes is run by a lady. 70% of our revenue is generated by two ladies. One is Divyadrishti and second is Navya. Um, um, HRs are always ladies, and all that. So, there is a large percentage of leaders among the 40-45% of ladies that we have.
Got it. I happen to run an HR organization myself, and I run a 95% women organization
Absolutely.
because, for that role, guys tend to be fidgety and not very focused, and there's a very process oriented thing. And then, you need diligence. Although, I would like to say guys have it, but the fact at the ground level is that, girls are better at that than guys.
Yep.
And also it helps from a what do you say, a larger perspective, that stickiness of women is higher. They change fewer jobs. They're not very confrontational. They don't ask you for raises very often. So these things also kind of, as a business owner, it kind of adds up. And not just that, it is also easier working in that kind of an environment. So on a sales level, on a sales organization level, there are a lot of variables that a woman has to handle. It is not very conducive. For sales, men do better, but whereas for HR, I tend to agree. So
At least in Mentor, I had a lady colleague called Anu Sethi, and she was doing an amazing job. It is just that I have to be a little bit cognizant of the fact I cannot call her at 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the night because, they have a family. But then I circumvented because I became friendly with uh, with her husband,
Vikas.
Vikas. I became friendly with Vikas. That also I overcame, right? So I'm saying there are challenges, but you should find out ways and means. I had amazing colleagues in the sales. Who else? Yeah, Deepika was another one that I've known in the past who came into sales and stuff like that. I think things are changing. Ladies are also, now trying to find out how they can go about doing business engagements and stuff like that. So, yeah, things are changing.
got it. Cool. So, Asha, I want to get to you. In today's paced world, right? Is marriage necessary for personal fulfillment, especially for women who aspire to be at leadership roles? I know all of you are married and have kids, and I want to ask you that question.
So I'll give a um, zoom out perspective first. My daughter is a history student and she loves history, so I'll delve into history. If you look at generations of women, whether it is world history or Indian history, you will find people who have shined bright, women who have shined bright, irrespective of their marital status. Women who have been married into kingdoms have taken over on the demise of their husband to take care of the kingdom. There have been scholars, there have been poets. So you name the field, and women have been there. The first Indian woman doctor, Dr. Anandi Bai, got educated post marriage and became a doctor post marriage. Closer home, Sudhamurthy, she's an engineer par excellence, but she did take career gaps as she deemed fit. But is she out of the scene? No, she's very much part of the scene at the national level itself. She's a Rajya Sabha member now. So, generations of women have actually faced challenges. They have the courage to overcome it if they really want to. So, what a woman needs is the significant people in her life need to be progressive thinkers to enable the woman, to empower the woman. You only need an ecosystem like Savita said, who are progressive thinkers. Just given the space, a woman can just shine. So, marriage is just an aspect of life which comes much later, when the girl is in her 20s and nowadays in the 30s. What is important is the household that she grows up in, the environment that she observes around her, where she finds women doing different things. I come from a household, I have been in a joint family where all the women were working. My grandmother got married in her early teens, but she's one of the greatest administrators I have seen because she delegated work among all the men and women in the family. My aunt is a school teacher. Another aunt has been in the Karnataka Sabha. She's a government employee. My mother is a worker. She was employed with the LIC of India. So I have always grown up seeing women who have been able to balance both worlds. And I think it is a woman's prerogative to get married or not to get married. Irrespective of the marital status, whatever works for the woman in her circumstances is okay. So it is not that marriage is always a limiter. The case of Dr. Anandi Bai, marriage actually enabled her. So it is the right partner that you need to have in your life. As long as there is love and there is respect and trust, I think there is no stopping a woman at all.
So, alluding to your point, if I say a strong father figure who, kind of encouraged and motivated you, and a strong partner who kind of shoulders it along with you so that you are able to, manage that journey, and also, staying in a household or in the vicinity of other women leaders kind of helps you shape that perspective.
Absolutely. I think we need to encompass ourselves with positive thinking people, and it is very important. So it is the father, it is the brother, it is the husband, it is the brother-in-law, it is whoever comes into your life, um, who can support your dream, who can share the load. It happens.
Got it. So Veena, a different shade of same question. So, should women consider marrying equals who are residing in the same city, or should they, conform to the traditional beliefs of marrying somebody who is making multiples of their income? And how does, both these decisions affect their career and their prospects of getting into a leadership role?
Yeah, great question, Gautam. Actually, thanks for having me here for this thought-provoking discussion, and thanks Raghu for introducing me from the time we have met. But before that, I was in industry for 20 years. So I think I'll go back to that period. And I believe that I have married a person of equal in all aspects. It could be in terms of education. We both were doing finished masters, and we were pursuing our PhD when we got married. And coming back to the income part of it or economics of it, uh, I think the societal expectations on the marriage is evolving, and gone are the days where people look for status and a support system, supporting or a very powerful husband kind of a situation today. People really look for more on a trust and mutual respect beyond anything else, and also support for each other's personal and professional growth. So that becomes a crux of the marriage today. So that, having said that, if by chance or if a person marries a person of high income or power, I feel personally there are there are exceptions, of course. Personally, I feel that it would somewhere limit, due to situations, not intentionally probably, but due to situations, it would limit women's growth professionally. That's what I strongly feel.
Got it.
Is
Got
there
it. Eh,
anything I missed out from your
No, no,
question?
I was thinking of a follow-up question and I missed it, getting into your answer. So, but yeah, so what you're saying is essentially, you marry an equal, the probability of you getting in a stable career and leadership position is much higher.
More than that, you get an ecosystem where both of you think of each other's personal and professional growth together. So that is what makes the marriage also successful, and any relationship for that matter. No, you get that ecosystem where you can think through each other and each other's aspirations in terms of personal and professional growth, which is very important.
So, yeah, I finally
Yeah, but
remember.
again, if you end up having so lucky and having a person of power and income and everything, I have a suggestion here. I think it is very essential to earn to an extent of managing the livelihood or life for logistics per se. So the beyond that, whatever you earn, that extra income would doesn't care. I mean, I'm not talking here about who spends it, but who manages it. But it is essential to maintain that minimum earning, both of them, so that at least having been there for generations of male dominant and traditional expectations of the marriage, so we wouldn't really. Even a passing thought will not come to anybody's mind saying that I run the house, right? So to that extent, I suggest that they both in the marriage should have a minimum level of sharing in terms of income, and beyond that it doesn't bother, actually doesn't
So
care.
I remembered the question. Okay. So now I wanted to ask. So there used to be a time when career was an option for a woman.
That's precisely the point, that limits that. Obviously, that thought comes to a mind if you marry a person of high income or high power. So the situation forces you to ignore your own passion, your own desires of profession, and yeah, I think you obviously fall back onto adjusting to your whatever
So
circumstances.
career should never be an option for a woman. Career is a
Hmm.
must, and her life should revolve around her career and family. But the choice makes her more independent, so that it doesn't go to a state where you have no other go but to adjust.
Right.
Right, got it.
Yeah.
Cool. So I want to go back to Savita again. Savita, what can organization do to ensure that women with multiple career gaps are still seen as viable candidates?
Uh, yeah, always whenever for organization, there is always pressure to deliver, right? Whether it's woman, more than that. So there are goals set, there are target sets. It has to be delivered. So whoever chooses, okay, their subordinates. Okay, if I had to interview someone, always that will be there in the back of mind. You had to have right candidate, efficient person, so that they deliver. So always having that in back of mind, if we try to choose employment, then it's always unidirectional. But for that, whoever is leader, okay, or planning, have that kind of thought process. Okay, we should consider this. Okay, woman, why? But it's not just because it's not helping someone. It is definitely good for the organization, good for the society, and that satisfaction. It's not only one sided, right? Earning or keep building the company. But other than that, what contributed also? In that, if we think in that angle and then proceed, then we have hundreds of opportunities for everyone. So definitely when there is a gap, it's not only technical training matters. Technical training brings them to today's technology. But more than that, psychologically, they will not be, they need a lot of support. In the sense, first of all, confidence will not be there. Out of maybe 100, maybe one have their internal, they want to come up, they want to do something, so they would have done already that. So in such it is their inspiration inside, then whatever it is, they are fighters, then they will not take these breaks also. But whoever have already taken breaks, there could be situation, or they had, there is no other go for them. So in this also training is very important for bringing them back to, see, generally one more sensitivity, right? Women are little more sensitive comparatively. So if somebody says something at home or at office or something, they get hurt very easily and they try to leave it. Okay, it's not going to work for me. I'm fine. Okay, and also it's more than anything, I'm fine now. Okay, why I should be so much, I should take burden. So all these things will be keep coming up, but training in the sense to bridge the gap, all these need to be addressed, and for that their immediate manager should have that patience to make it possible for them to bring it to next level.
So asking a question from an kind of a economic point of view, right? So is it still profitable for the company to take somebody and train them while instead of hiring ready-made people who can hit the ground running?
Yeah, it's today's world. Totally, there is a big change now. So earlier, few years back to now, 10 years, maybe 10 years back. So both are needed. In fact, one is lateral entries definitely are more costlier to the company, and also you don't know how it is. But having growing engineers, choosing the right engineers, growing them to next level, that should be one stream. And other stream is lateral entry is also needed, because after some time people start tending to its day to day work. There is no interest, there is no life. So having bringing some new from different organizations, it is different culture, all that diversity also comes. So both are important now, what I have seen.
I want to switch to Raghu. So, Raghu, not everybody has the privilege of having a father like you as a woman. So, if there are women who are making career choices or marriage choices today, what would you advise them in terms of, how they should go about, structuring their career, how they should go about the entire concept of marriage, or is it even necessary?
Okay, I was just hearing everybody saying that. No, it struck me something which I always keep telling. Is that somebody asked me a question, would you allow your daughter to work? And I go back and quote a clip from a movie. I don't remember the movie, where Rahul Bose is on a extempore talking, and in this extempore he tells that I've allowed Priyanka Chopra to work. And that's where Farhan Akhtar calls her to the side and asks her, who is he to allow you to work? So that's a very important question, right? So I, as a father, who am I to allow my daughter to work? If she has a choice, she will work. If she doesn't have a choice, let her not work. I've had uh, I've had situations, in Mentor. Um, um, Kritika ideally should have been part of the panel. She couldn't make it, but I have seen her. She would have gone about to be one of the best leaders in semiconductor, but she chose after marriage to, cut down her stuff, be with her husband and the kid and stuff like that. So it's her choice. I'm nobody to tell about my daughter what she should do and stuff, right? So, the question.
As in, advice would you give? Or not generally, I'm not saying would you allow your daughter to work, or what? What are the guidelines or principles that you would tell your daughter so that she can make better decisions based on that, leveraging your experience but using her intuition?
Yeah. So I'm not going to get into too much of what I should tell her from the industry. And there are a few tips that I have told her already. Um, you're in a society where there is a large percentage of men driving it, right? So when you're entering it, when you handshake, the touch matters. Be very careful. So it starts from there. Then, as you move within the organization, the people that you work with, you get all these senses, you get all these indications, and you should learn from that and see what needs to be done. In my last, after she graduated from Pune and she's with me now, I asked her to go and explore, not in India. So she had an amazing experience of going to 2, 3 places, and one such experience when she went through, she didn't call me from there, and that was a very good thing for me. I mean, she experienced it, she dealt it, and she came out of it, and she came back and told me that experience. When I heard that experience, it was chilling for me. Chilling for me because this is my daughter who, I've raised her. She's 22 and she had this experience, and for me it was a very satisfying because she dealt it. And that is something that I tell her. Leaving aside that what you should do in psychology or what you should earn, like Asha, Savita, or Bhanu and Veena ma'am, I'm not going to tell her to go that path, but at least little bit nuances of what you have experienced in your life. I've passed it on to her, and I'm sure she will make use of it. And we do that within our organization also. Some of our lady colleagues, we do tell, you know, um, simple things like if you're traveling, make sure that you tell us if you're taking a late night flight, if you're taking an early morning cab, and all that stuff. Those are simple things which some of us can be there, giving us the live locations and stuff like that. So that, sometimes parents say, I remember, Asha, right? When you went to the inspiration evaluation, I mean, we spoke to her mother, and we had to tell her that the daughter is taken care of. She'll come late in the night. So those are the little bit things which you will anyway do it for your daughter or do it for your son, right? For that matter, I think some of these things we can look into it as you progress your organization, and that's how people stick with you. People don't leave you for money. People don't. A large portion of people don't leave you for money. People leave you if you've not built a family in the organization.
Got it, got it. And in terms of choosing a partner, what would your key, guidelines be for any young graduate, or any young professional,
Partner in the sense,
as in marriage, or
oh, I will go
spouse?
diverse. I mean, I'm not. I've heard, all successful four of them in their marriages and stuff. For me, when you're in your college, and go love, find partners, explore. In a sense that uh, from ours, we have seen that the girls are more tends to have their girlfriends together. They don't go and explore and talk to guys, and which nowadays I think it's just opened up because I come from a boys' school, not a co-ed. But then these days, people are experiencing that. The friendship and the understanding of the opposite gender is very well known. Right? So, I believe that the girl should meet as many people as they would like to meet, as many people as they would like to love, and then finally settle down with the choice that they believe that this is the person that they would want to get into. I think gone are the days that my mother will look for a girl for me or the father will look for a guy for me and stuff like that. Right? They should experience what they want to do. Go out, explore, meet people, do whatever you would want to do, and then settle with the right person. It could be location, it could be salary, it could be within the organization, outside the organization. Get to the guy that you would want to marry. It could be 20 years, it could be 30 years, it could be 40 years. I don't think we should. And I'm seeing many people around me, ladies are not marrying, and they don't need to get married. I know they are creating challenges for their parents because as a mother and father, before they die, they need to see the children settle, which is by far for them it's good. But then, as far as what people want to do, we should let them to do.
That shouldn't, what the mother and
Should
father are thinking shouldn't be a big concern for the.
I know I'm not getting into that kind of a discussion, but then my daughter might hear this.
So right. So Banu, I want to, kind of understand, right? Many women face multiple career gaps, including you've mentioned it as well, due to childbirth and other family responsibilities. How can they effectively manage these gaps and still aspire to become a leader?
Gautam, as I told, they need to keep themselves updated. The moment there is a career break, it might be irrespective of the situation, that might be marriage or taking care of their parents or maternity. A particular duration is accepted, but beyond that, if it is their passion, they have to keep themselves updated, which means there are a lot of courses. They have to know what's happening on the legal aspect. They have to take IOD programs, that is the directorship programs, or they can go and learn AI and machine learning, which is very much there in the industry now, which is interlinked everywhere, including semiconductor. So in every aspect, what is there, I mean, right now mobile, it reaches you to the every corner of the world. You can get to know what's happening in the entire globe, for that matter. So that will help you or keep you engaged in learning various things. That might be broadcast also, if you're interested in broadcast, or if you're interested in reading any particular articles or newsletters, for that matter. It keeps, I mean, the moment you search something in Google, it ensures that it pops up, has a ad to you in whichever app you use it. So that's how even the things are working around you, right? So the moment you're keeping yourself updated and you're passionate about it, you can get back to your career as quick as possible. Even during that break, you're not disconnected, you're still there in the industry, which means you're keeping yourself updated. The moment you're not updating yourself, for example, just to take an example of myself, as I told, when I had my child, within 2 months I was back to work. Even though if I was not back to work, I have taken a break, saying that okay, fine, I have a child now, let me take a break of 1 year or 2 year, and I don't know what's happening there, even in the talent acquisition. Old search of Naukri, LinkedIn are gone. Now there are many things which has been updated even in the talent acquisition part. And if I don't update myself, the moment I'm back, I'm lost. Then a lot of training get into picture, and I feel I'm lost, and I don't have the connect over the people or the industry, and people have moved around, changed the organization, and I'm left out. And there is a lot I have to restart again. For that, instead of that, I can keep myself updated. If I have to restart, then I have to go through programs. So it's all about passion, how you are driven. So if you're passionate, you will keep yourself updated.
So, one more question there. So, you said you started work when your kid was 2 months old. You know, what prompted you to do that? And
I
what
couldn't
kind of support did you have to do that?
I couldn't be home just like that. One was, there was a financial thing which was driving me, for sure. I don't want to deny that fact. But after a point, I cannot keep myself so free. It was feeling restless, because we people are so, I mean, I was so much into work, people being connected around and all. So that was making me a little restless, to be very honest. And there was the other aspect, financial thing also. The other question which you asked, people support, yes, I had a huge support from my family. They supported me. They were like, yes, do what you feel like doing. And within one, when my kid was just 1 year old, I started Perceptive Solutions. During that time also, my mentors gave me a lot of support. My family gave me a lot of support. Okay, this is something you're passionate about, go for it, we are there to support you. So during that phase, as I told, I had like very less time with my kid, because that's the initial stage where I was trying to explore everything that might be on the company registration, or to get the acquire the customers, or how to build the ecosystem and how to connect with people. There were very other aspects. So it was, one was passion which was driving me, other was the support which I got from my mentors, with my family. And yeah, so this kept me driving, and I moved forward from there.
So, how critical are mentors? Who were those mentors? Were they male mentors? Were they female mentors? And what did they tell you that helped you kind of,
Okay,
craft it
so
better?
it was husband and wife. They run their own talent acquisition firm, that is JK Consulting. So it's Kumar and Jaya. So they were my mentors who helped me to drive this initially. And my parents, for sure, my dad was my biggest support. So he is like, go for it, do for it. And my aunt, my mom, my brothers for that matter. And yeah, that way people added across my career. I met various people who gave me a lot of knowledge, who shared their knowledge, and I was able to understand and correct my mistakes if I was going somewhere wrong. So it's all about learning. I'm still learning. So in this process I happened to meet Raghu sir. So I have learned a lot. I'm still there, I'm still learning there. So in that way, my partner as well, so he has been very supportive. So things have been moving on from there.
So another thing, so for a young girl graduate or a young professional, how do they choose a mentor? Who is a mentor? You know, who should be that mentor? Because obviously they don't, not everybody listens to their father and mother. So then in that case, who should they listen to? How should they choose that person? And why is choosing that person or having that person is the single most important decision that you might have made?
I have my mentors from 2014. Honestly, initially I was scared of them because they come from a very high end profession, and I was not comfortable. I never felt they are mentors because that was the age where I was still exploring. I'm talking about way back 10 years back. So I was still exploring. But later on, gradually, what happened is mentors are those people who I believe that they will always help you figure out what you like. For instance, I wanted to do photography, I wanted to get into modeling, I wanted to do all sort of thing, which was just interesting me at that particular moment, although I would pursue it or not, but they encouraged me to do it. Okay, fine, go for it, do it, explore it. They ensured that okay, fine, I explore it. So this way I cannot say that initially you will be able to figure out this is my mentor, but gradually over a period of time, based on the life journey, they will come along with you and they will always wish only good for you. So that is how you can figure out a mentor. That's my experience, what I've come across. So they have made me to go through all sort of thing which I wanted to explore. Astrology, go for it. I want to get into meditation, go for it. They have encouraged me, but eventually they were trying to guide me also. It's not that they let me go there, they were trying to guide me. Okay, this is not your way, this is something which this is your strength, this is your weakness, and try to work on your weaknesses, try to improve your strength even better. So this is where you stand. So this way they used to fine tune me in the way which I used to not feel offended. So I feel that plays a major role because the current generation, they feel offended for everything, including me for that matter. So any minute thing, we feel okay, fine. What is this person trying to say? But they come along your way and guide you to the right way, I can say.
I didn't know whether you tagged along yourself for the current generation.
Uh,
But then, yeah, I'll give that to you. And then, so Asha, let's say, in terms of talking about, she was talked about mentors, and what are the other support structures, including mentors, that need to be in place for women to navigate these challenges?
It's very important that a woman feels supported, especially when she has taken a gap from the career. Organizations are, I think, cognizant about it. The two big organizations I've been part of, both NXP and Intel, have drives to bring back women into the workforce. And it's mostly targeted to women who have taken breaks due to maternity or due to marriage. They have moved cities. And these programs are specifically designed for women who want to get back into the workforce. So, apart from doing this, the organization gives targets to the leaders to have a minimum percentage of women representatives in their organization. And I think Savita also mentioned this earlier. So it is a driving force where they are measured by the number of women employees they have in the organization. So these are two major initiatives I have seen from the corporate side. And I think, like Bhanu also mentioned, it is important for the lady who has taken a gap to keep upskilling. Especially in the semiconductor industry, I have been here for a long time to see that it's only advancing very briskly. So it's a double edged sword. If you want to take a gap and come back, it works for you because all you need to do is just upskill. So you've not lost a lot of time. And I would also like to believe that women who have taken a gap also are in leadership roles in a different paradigm, though, in the family paradigm. There are skills that a woman picks up when she's on a break, which is valuable for the organization. And when a woman comes with, facing these challenges and setbacks into the organization, she brings in that drive to not only sustain herself, but also to support the others. For example, I, as a leader, am mandated to mentor the women employees in my organization. And I am spending time with them on a regular basis, once in 2 weeks, where I not only build a rapport with them, but I also support them. And I also, it gives them that courage that there are senior women in the organization. So we kind of role model for the youngsters. And they look up to people and say, if they can do it, we can also do it. you know so these are some of the support structures, and the lady should also keep networking when in the gap years. It's important to keep in touch with her colleagues, have a presence on LinkedIn, observe what is happening, maybe passively, but be there to be able to integrated to be able to get integrated back into the mainstream. And also invest people. It could be your family members, it could be your children also. Children are very smart these days. They do understand when the mother tells them that I want to do this. For example, children love to play, and that evening 2 hours where they discharge their energy is what they look forward to for the entire day, and they will not trade off anything to take away their playtime. So, if the mother can explain to the child that just like your playtime, this is my passion and I love doing this, and I need your help and support to be able to do it. So, you need to invest people into understanding that it is important for you to prioritize yourself. And then I think it's okay to have setbacks. Nobody has always had a linear career. There are women who have had it, there are men who have had it, but it is a long run where there are setbacks, and resilience is very important. We have to come back with resilience.
Got it. Got it. But also on a business front, right? Having mandating saying that this much percentage of workforce should be women, is it a good economic decision or is it more like an inclusive decision?
I think it is, in the current scenario, it is coming in more as an inclusive situation because women don't lack competence. Women are extremely competent. You see the college results, you see their academic performance. Women are very competent. It is not competence that will take you to the leadership level. Competence alone is not sufficient. You need to have that drive. You need to have that passion for what you do. It could be any sector, it could be any field of work that one is engaged in and one is skilled in. And it is also a sense of self-esteem. You feel empowered, not just financially, but you are giving back to society in a way. So I think it is important that women are engaged in a profession.
Got it. So, Raghu, I want to come back to you because that question makes more sense, from Keynes's perspective also, because I wanted to understand, when you say that you are going to have women workforce in your this thing, is it an economically wise decision or is it more like an inclusive decision with the belief that it will eventually pan out right?
So yeah, I don't know how the economics work because whatever salary you pay to a guy, you pay to the lady candidate, right? So I don't see a difference there because you're picking people based on their competency and the roles and responsibilities that they will perform. So from that sense, you're not doing a favor, right? So here, I think we are discussing about, see, the economics will only work when I'm doing a favor because I'm paying somebody, boy or girl, whoever, I'm paying out of the way, or I'm paying more, or I'm paying less. which is absolutely not the case. Now, when I made a statement, you get a boy and a girl, both equal, get the girl, there's no economic differences here, right? No, so I don't see there is a economic problem here, a financial problem here, because I'm not hiring. Let's say that I wanted to hire a guy, I heard two girls. No, so I'm only hiring 1:1. So, and I'm only looking at where there is certain competency, where a lady colleague can come in and perform and shine and stuff. So I don't see a problem.
So there are certain areas you said women are much better than men, but then when especially talking about women returning back to work from the career breaks that they've had, there is a little bit of training cost or a little bit of ramping up cost as well, right? So it's not apples to apples in that case. So there is a little bit of upfront cost and time that you're investing in. So that, let's say somebody is not as big as Keynes, but still has to make this decision. So how do they look at this decision, and what would be the right decision for them, not just being inclusive but also being economically savvy?
One of the largest microprocessor company in the world laid off a huge segment of people, right? Now I don't understand what is the end goal of a company. uh, they hire a set of people, and after 5 6 months 5 6 years they lay down that set of people and then rehire back. So I don't know that economics, right? But what I know is, let's say my EBITDA margin is 16%, I'm okay to take 15.5 next year. If I have to spend some amount of money to rehire back some of those people that I believe can do my work, so be it. I don't see a challenge here. I cannot I cannot reduce my EBITDA from 16% to 10%. That is not acceptable, right? But a small percentage here and there. Maybe next year the people that I hired back might perform more, and I might get my margins back, right? So I think end of the day, let's look at it from a standpoint that as an organization, what am I doing? What am I doing to the society and stuff? I'm not getting philosophical here, but then yes, do finances and profit margin do play a role. But then if you're not negatively hitting a lot, you should do those and bring right people into the organization.
Got it. So I wanted to get back to you, Banu, as in it is observed that during personal conflicts, right, women are pressured to quit their jobs. How can women navigate these situations? If that's becoming a problem for you, you just quit your job, it doesn't matter. Is a common statement, and I can share a few experiences of what has happened, but then I want your opinion first.
Okay, so as Asha mentioned in the previous conversation, it's about investing in people and explaining. So there are a lot of pressures which women go through because that is their choice of getting married or having their kid or taking care of parents. Equally, even a man goes through various other things, right? So, but from generation, it has been designed in such a way that man works, women takes care of house. So now things are changing. So during this process, yes, as you said, there are many conversations comes in. If you're not able to handle the pressure at home and work both, why can't you quit? We are earning sufficient, or there are sufficient things to take care economically. Why is that you have to work? So during that process, if a woman is really passionate, he or she has to sit and explain or invest in people and tell that this is something which I love to do, and this is not for the income or the economic thing. It is about my own interest. So everyone have their interest, everyone have their passion, as simple as that. That might be a man or a woman or even for the kid that matter. So the moment you are able to communicate properly to the people at home, the problem is resolved. So many of the times what happens when we are in the other side of the table in the company aspect and we get to hear this, have a pressure from family to quit the job. So if you're able to communicate, if you're really interested, are you really passionate, there are various other ways to work out. Fine, you cannot commute to the office every day, you have an option of working from home. Thanks to COVID, for that matter, there that opportunity has been in a larger extent now working, I mean, in various other companies also, to work from home. They have made it a very normal thing. So you have that option of working from home if the commuting is a challenge, or if a work timing is a challenge, that can also be worked around. They have flexible work timings. But how efficient you're able to communicate, at your place to convince people, and how efficient and transparent you are to your employee and employer, that matters a lot. So that way the problem is to some extent definitely resolved. There are very rare extreme cases, I totally understand that, but to a larger extent this can be resolved over a communication.
Got it. Not that it has happened. So in my organization, whenever my emerging women leaders or women leaders who are already handling a significant portfolio, whenever they have a conflict with their husband, like it's okay, you quit a job, then that shouldn't be a problem. Then it's not that they've come and told me, and then they have a conversation, and then they in front of me they are like, if we tell this, he'll say, okay, quit your job and come. And I'm like, oh, this is the conversation that is happening at home, karke. That's when I realized that this is the conversation that is happening at home. And for this, is it primarily, do you think, the salary figure of the women versus the salary figure of the man is the reason why this conversation is happening, or is it more like, just because she's a woman, it is?
I don't say salary figure because most of the times it is equivalent at this point of time. If you really look at a larger portfolio, men and women are equally earning, I can say, or maybe a certain perks here and there. But it is more to do with that. Sorry if I'm using this word. It's a man ego at certain point of time. But otherwise, if you're able to have a right partner. It's nothing to do with this because it's a momentary thing. Everyone goes through that momentary ups and downs. That's graph. Life is never a straight line, so that's a graph, right? So you have conflict with your parents. If there is a problem, kids come home and say there is a problem, the first thing parents say, okay, fine, quit that. They'll never force the kid to do that, right? So it's about how passionate you are to do that and how much you are able to sail through the ups and down, and for every problem there is a solution. That's how I see it. So major problem what in a marriage they face it is a time. So you're not able to give time and various other aspects. So major thing what I see it is time. Even I find this challenge at my colleagues also. So if you're able to navigate through that, then I don't think this will be a conversation to quit. So I mean, I hardly recall where a woman says to a guy, okay, fine, your boss is shouting at you, why don't you quit? So that's not the case, right? So hardly you come across this conversation, but it's the other way around for sure. So then that can be resolved communicating well, sitting and calming down the situation, communicating well.
Got it. So Asha, in many cases, right, husbands, in-laws, and all of them use pressure tactics to influence a woman's career decision. How can women in that situation kind of assert their, passion and say, this is my professional aspiration, this is what I want to do? How should they put it across without offending the parties? Because the parties involved are all high stake holders. So you need to handle it with caution. So how do they do that?
Yeah, again, it is, you operate out of a place of empathy and you operate out of a place of leadership as well. So, women have to walk the talk. It is a tightrope walk for sure. And when I say we have to walk the talk, it is we have to share the outcome of our working with our family members, the recognitions that we get, um, the impact that we have in the workplace needs to be shared with the family members so that they know that you are adding value and you are much more than just the role of the daughter-in-law and the wife that you can play at home. As long as you are able to convince the significant family members that you are not restricted to playing these roles and you can manage both your professional life as well as this to the extent possible, and showcase that there is support available. I can vouch for men in the industry, and Raghu Sahib just called out how I was taken care of. My first job was a technical marketing job where I had to travel, and I had to travel cities. Sometimes the airplane would leave early in the morning, which means I had to start from my house at 4 a.m., take a cab, reach the airport, or I would arrive in the destination quite late in the night. But I always had my colleagues along with me. I never did travel alone. I always had the workforce traveling with me. And the organization also went to the extent that I was not comfortable staying put up in a hotel. I wanted to live with my family friends, and they were okay with it. So, the family at home also needs to know that there is a family in the workplace who will take care of you. And the integration, you are the bridge. You need to bridge the two. So, my husband and daughter know my colleagues, they know my workplace. And similarly, my colleagues know my family. So, that way, it enables a woman to integrate both these worlds, and that makes it easier for her.
So, I want to point out one instance. Okay, what happened was there was you know, an account manager in my firm. So she wanted to stay in Bangalore, and there is a team that is there. So she got married to a person who is in Bangalore. She wanted to move out of Bihar, so she got married to somebody in Bangalore so that she can come and have a metropolitan life. They moved here. 3 months into the marriage, COVID struck. Then they were all remote, they were not able to move, so they were in Bangalore. And then she continued to work. She joined as an HR executive, and then grew all the way to an account manager in about 2.5 years. And then she was handling about 15 people. And then suddenly her husband wanted got work from home, and the restrictions all were revised. And then he went back home to Odisha and Bihar. So the girl also went back to Bihar with him. And then once that was done, so she wanted to, we told her there are team folks to manage. You need to be here. It cannot work remotely because there's more tactical kind of stuff. So it cannot be done remotely unless you're an individual contributor. Then she came back with her husband. And then her husband again went back. And then after going there, the husband and mother-in-law colluded and said, "You got to come back. If your company is not letting you come back, you can quit your job." And then she fought for some time, and then she said, "No, I will not come back. I will stay here." So she stayed in her house alone while her husband was in Bihar. And then once that happened, then what transpired is that her husband stopped talking to her, her mother-in-law stopped talking to her. And then they stopped wishing her on her birthday, anniversary, and all of that. And then it became a very fidgety situation. And then the mother of the girl calls the husband and then talks, and then there is a family collusion. And then finally she came and asked me. I said, you can get another job, but finding another husband is a very difficult thing, so you should probably quit and leave. And then that's what happened. But in these kind of situation, what would you do? What is advisable to do?
Very tough situation, actually. And it doesn't happen overnight. When you face such challenging, tough situations, it takes time. We cannot resolve this overnight for sure. It takes a lot of, especially if it's an arranged marriage, you are getting to know your partner and the partner's family. As much as you would have spent time before marriage, living with the person, living with the people is the reality. It The reality will come out when you start living with the person. So it takes time. Um, from that lady's point of view, I understand, because I was in a, like I said, I was in a travel oriented job. And if I wanted to continue, it would have been tougher. Without anybody having to tell me, I sensed it and I said, if I have to continue to travel, and it may be different for different women. In my case, I wanted to switch over and I wanted to do more design where I didn't have to travel. So there is no dearth of roles in the industry. If one kind of role requires and mandates you to work from office, requires you to be physically present, there are roles where you can also choose to work remotely. So depending upon the personal dynamics, a lady has to be flexible to explore more options that are available.
Got it. So, Veena, coming back to you, right? How can women prepare themselves to handle these external familial pressures, particularly when you're in leadership positions? Still, this pressure would probably be there for you at even at this age, at this position.
Yes,
How
of
do you do that?
course. Yes, of course. Pressure will always be there when you choose to be professional as well as dealing with the personal issues. So, managing stress is an art. and you have to practice also. It doesn't come overnight, or it is not something you can just transfer the technology and you get it. So it has to be practiced, and only way you can do is set a right expectation in both places. Even in family and around you, whomever you deal with, set a right expectation. Same is the case in professional life also. You have to set what you can do professionally also, and clearly make them know, either the family stakeholders or the professional stakeholder, make them aware of your situation and how much time you are available, what are the challenges you are dealing with, so that you don't get disturbed or distracted by the other parties, which is very essential. Open dialogue is very much required. You have to discuss out everything, the challenges, the, as she said, even the accolades you get, and the appraisals, everything. If they know each, know, not technically, I'm not getting into the technicalities of it, but at least the importance of you in both the situations, that has to be communicated very openly. So that is one thing. Plus the self care. Managing stress is more to do with the self care. You have to be really very healthy to do this, both the situations, because it can lead to really very bad stress, and that can take you to anywhere actually. It's very hard. So you have to invest your time on a regular basis for a self care, so that you can deal with stress whenever it comes. So very essential. And open communication is the one thing, is the way to go. So yeah, you have to be open about everything, the kind of stress you undergo, the problems, the situations. So how are you tackling it? And also, I think discussions like this would help. So you will see how people have dealt with such situations. So podcasts, or keep having a mentor or senior people in workplace, or in family also. There can be mentors in family who have handled the stress situations very easily. So you have to be cautiously looking at those, inculcating those tricks and skills yourself, and concentrate on self care and open communication. I think that's the way to deal with that.
Got it. Thanks. So now I want to kind of throw the floor open for all of you to kind of, chime in your thoughts, especially around career gaps. So I wanted to, what is a narrative around career gap that needs to change, that is currently present? And what are the most effective ways you think we can empower women to, overcome in spite or despite these career gaps and reach leadership level positions?
Yeah.
It's open.
Yeah, one point I want to share when you asked that question to Raghu. So what you say, what you tell your daughter. I have a daughter, and she's doctor, and she got married now. So one thing is, when I was young, my mom, even she was 30s, 1930s time, she could study only 7th standard. She wanted to work, but at that time situation was girls were not working. She used to tell, we are three sisters, one brother, all three of us. She used to tell, okay, whatever you deal with, but you study well and you be on your leg. You had to take care of financially, you had to be independent. That's what my mom used to tell. I don't know, she might not have told every day. She would have told sometime, but that went into my mind so much that always when I was studying, I wanted to start working early. Same thing when we talk so much to our kids, right? Rather than advising why it is important, if we put that small thing in their mind, even for boy or girl, that what is important for their life, I think that is one basic thing. I think we can also bring forth to our children or later grandchildren. So this is one thing. And also family, if at all you are really willing, you are so aspired about career, you want to do something for society or whatever it is, you really want to do something, everyone supports. There is, I have seen my earlier boss SLN Murthy and Satish, my CEO. Earlier boss, I finished diploma and came to Bangalore from Hubli. I belong to Hubli. Then he encouraged me to study. So I did evening engineering. Then I did MTech. So masters, everything. So if you really want, they support. And I've seen my bosses and I've seen my husband so supportive. Now also he's telling me do PhD. Okay, so that's how. If you are really willing, at home, everyone, my brothers, sisters, my mom, everyone used to take care of my daughter. So I never felt that as a burden, because that, unless you are really interested, and you will adjust to entire ecosystem if you want. So my husband's, my niece, nephew, everyone were studying at home, because I didn't want my daughter to be all alone growing. I wanted her to grow in entire joint family. So we built house as a joint family, and we were all living. So it's a choice, because you want to do something, right? This is also one I feel very important. That aspiration is where everyone supports. In my what I have seen.
Yeah, I think it is very important for the lady not to give up. This reminds me of Martin Luther King's saying, where he says, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl, but keep moving forward. So you should never give up. If you have the potential, you grab the opportunities that come to you at the stage in your life. If there are setbacks, you should have the resilience to bounce back.
Okay. Okay. So, as in terms of the career gap narrative, how would you see that is currently existing, and how do you think it should ideally be existent in the whole scheme of things?
My perception is, I think career gaps are absolutely okay. In the semiconductor industry, it's absolutely okay. There are, I think in India, we are not very familiar with this word sabbatical. But in the Western world, there is this concept of taking a sabbatical, where even the men are mandated to take 8 weeks off of work and come back rejuvenated. So I don't think career gaps should be looked at negatively. They are also growth opportunities, because career is just one aspect of our life, right? We need a holistic, wholesome life to live. So I think if we stop looking at it more negatively and look at it as opportunity for growth, um, it is better for the future generations too. So so that the girls don't hesitate to take those career gaps when it turns out to be a burnout stage for them because of the different stressors. It's okay.
Okay. Got it. So as in, when I have these the last two podcasts, when I say life, right? Whenever we've talked amongst men, right? Life or is a very unidimensional career oriented thing. When it comes to women, it is a multi-layered fabric that it's a
Absolutely.
combination of all these things. Raghu, do you think is it very unidimensional with men always, and it'll continue to be so, or do you think it is evolving, and that will probably that will make men also have career gaps? That way, this becomes kind of more equitable.
Okay, so to answer that, I mean, I watch a lot of reels during my free time. One such person that I follow is a lot is Vicky Kaushal. I mean, I watched a reel which he explained the marriage and partnership very well. What he was saying that is that, let's say this is a man and a woman. It is not that this man and woman have to come closer like this. He said a part of the man and a part of the woman should move like this and come closer to a common objective. What he meant by that is that there will be some part which will not come. You respect that part, and the part of it will come together for a common goal. And he says it, and there are multiple more video that he says. So to come back, a marriage as an institution, we should, I mean, age-old institution. I don't want to be, China to overtake us in the population. We are number one. So let's continue to grow, have kids, and marry and stuff like that, right? So, but that's one part of it, and we become a larger consumer, which means that we are a larger market, right? Now, having said that, I believe that, yeah, so the male chauvinism would continue. This is not going to go away. Whichever part of the society that, I mean, I come from a time where no girls in the schools and colleges and stuff like that. I found it very hard to accommodate many things. To be very honest, I learned it over a period in time. And these days, people are going through some other problem, which also means that they're not able to coexist and live. I see it in my home with my son and daughter. So I don't think this is going to go away. This will continue to be the way it is. So, like the four leaders have told, find a passion, find a mentor, find a passion again, and adjust with your family, communicate with your family. It's very, very important what Asha mentioned. Right? Communicate, tell everything that has happened. So the family knows it. Rather, if you walk into the house with a grumpy face, they don't know what you went through. So rather, if you sit and explain the best, the good, and the bad part of it, I think they all become a part of it. Researchers coming in into the startup and supporting and giving that has been an amazing. Same is the case with ma'am. You mentioned about your mother supporting you all and reaching here, and I'm sure this will continue. The problems will continue to exist. We'll continue to talk, but I'm sure we will evolve as we move forward.
Both of you, your 2 cents on what you think about this.
You want to go first?
No, please.
Yeah, actually, changing narrative, I see, as she was saying, taking break is okay, fully okay, because it's situational. It is needed for that particular person or woman. So, getting back to work is also possible. Only thing is she has to manage it well by continuing to be in the professional network. Doing the with social media, there are a lot of things one can do sitting at home. So you can write blogs, you can communicate, you can do a lot of things. You can and take courses online. See, we ourselves don't know how much we gain in a year. You set a target for yourself, see how much you grow, take one particular skill to take it, and then you go. I'm learning German for since last 1 year. Today I'm amazed to see I finished 2 levels of German officially, I mean attending classes, and also on Duolingo I completed the course. So it's so amazing if you focusingly concentrate on one particular skill every year, which I started last few years. So I do pencil drawing, I do a lot of things. One skill I pick up every year and keep working on that. Whether it gets me money, it gets me name, nothing. I don't care. But I pick up one skill and every year I focus on that. So I wrote 100 blogs. I started writing blogs in Kannada. So learning German. It's nothing to do with semiconductors, but but yeah. So it is possible to do many things even with break, and that can give you something for your field also. It is not that you are doing altogether totally different. Okay, for example, pencil sketching can give you more attention span for your physical design in semiconductors. A lot of things you learn from that which will really benefit you in your profession, okay, in the career. So career gap is okay. Treat your career gap as a retirement, part of retirement. You're taking it earlier, and but grow with it. That is the only message I would want everyone. Don't take it negative at all. Career gap is not at all negative. You can use it to your advantage, and you can get back to work. That's the narrative I would like it to be
You're
different.
alluding to Steve Jobs' learning calligraphy during his
Yeah,
college time and how that helped
helped
the
him.
whole font thing in PCs. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Uh, I can say it's one life. Live it the way you want, which means when you take a career gap, it should be a bounce back. So you take a career back, you sit back, you think, or you just work on upskilling yourself, or it might be on any passion which you felt, okay, this is something which you wanted to pursue your younger days, but then it was a financial aspect or a society pressure you got into your job. So you want to pursue that back. So you're running a talent acquisition and you're doing a broadcast. So that might be a passion or your interest or various other facts. With ma'am, as she said, so she's pursuing something other than semiconductor. That might be her interest area. And with me, with everyone for that matter, there would be a place where we are passionate or interested. So during that career gap, it should never be tagged in a negative aspect. It is a bounce back period. So the moment you take a break, okay, it's a break, done, now I'm bouncing back. So if that is your mindset, things will change in various other aspects. That might be in your career if you get back to your work, or the passion if you want to pursue, or is there something which you want to start as an entrepreneur? So it's different field altogether. And during your career break also, you're just giving good amount of time to yourself and to your family. That's not a setback, that is something which you are doing for yourself, because career is part of your life. Apart from that, there are various other aspects which will add on. That might be your vacation or your family or your focus to something else. All this will keep adding on value to your life. So just enjoy that moment, and the moment you're back, ensure that it's worth taking that again.
Got it. I like it because how this whole podcast thing started was that I like to talk with friends, and whenever we meet we have a conversation. Just that we put some lights and camera and mics around it, or is it just a regular conversation that we usually have within our friend circle, within our professional circle? It's just and it helps also because I don't have need an alarm to get up for a podcast, but I need an alarm to get up when I don't like something. So that's something that is true. And kind of summarizing what all of you told is that look, career gaps or marriage or maternity, all of these are unavoidable things, and these do play a major role. But one thing that is common across all of you, that very strong father figure, very strong role models and mentors, and a very supportive spouse, and more importantly the determination and grit for you to be somebody known for something that you have accomplished in your career. So these are all the major takeaways I have seen, because for me as a man, I thought probably career gaps is why there is pay parity, probably maternity breaks or marriage is the reason why all these things exist. But when I fortunately none of you are woke feminists here, you're all equalists. So feminism has gone from equality to like women want to become the reverse of what happened to them. So that is how I see it. So when I look at it, right, all of you are like determination and grit is the 80 to 90% of what makes you a leader, and these are all the remaining 10% of variables. But obviously, yes, spouse is a very important decision, and one thing that is common across all the 10, 12 folks that I've seen across the last 3 4 days is that all of you have a very supportive spouse and a very supportive ecosystem. And one more thing is that you all stay with your extended family, because during that childcare period, right, the extended family kind of helped. Uh, that is something that I see. Probably the nuclear ones have the benefits, but probably after the kids grow big or something like that. So yeah, so I want to get into the next part. I call it decision dilemmas. Two good options, equally good, not one is better than the other. Just give me your one word answer on what you would pick. No rational required. It's your prerogative to choose whichever option you want and then go with it. So I'd start with you, Savita. Savita, flexible work arrangements or longer maternity leaves?
Flexible work arrangements.
Prioritize career continuity or focus on family during key stages?
Okay, this.
I know it's difficult. That's why I had the pretext to it.
Yeah, it's family. Yeah.
Family. Gradually return to work or jump back in full time right after a career gap?
Gradually is better.
So, should women seek leadership roles immediately after a career gap or should then gradually ramp it up?
Gradually is
So, how can women leverage career gaps as a strength rather than a setback? Is a longer question.
strength.
Okay. So, Banu, for you, right? Uh, should they delay family life till they get settled in a career, or should they start family life and let it go in parallel?
They should start and let it go on parallel.
So, should during marriage, should they be willing to relocate or should they choose to stay in the same city?
They should be willing to relocate.
Okay. So, when faced with personal pressures, should they yield to it or, resist it?
Yield to it to settle the situation.
Okay. So, in terms of career gaps, should they be transparent about it in the whole interview process, or should they find a reason to,
Transparent.
uh, should career gaps be held against women when for considering for promotions, or should they be used as a catalyst to promote it?
Sorry, I didn't get your
So,
question.
during promotions, should career gaps be considered as catalyst or as more as a
No,
deterrent?
it should be more as a talent.
Okay, got it. So, Asha, so should you marry an equal or somebody who is making more money?
Marry the right compatible partner.
Query, that's not the given an option. Like he said, right? You're at par, then you choose a like that is the question.
So the question is
Should
marry
you
an
marry an
equal
equal
or
or a superior, as in somebody who makes more money than you? Which is better for you and your career and your leadership potential?
well, honestly, I feel it doesn't matter. But if I have to choose, marry an equal.
Okay. So, so should families kind of support women's career aspirations or should advise them to take breaks once in a while?
Break once in a while is okay, as long as it is keeping you moving forward.
So, if you were to choose one, career or personal life, and you have to make a choice, what would take priority?
Nothing is permanent, so temporarily, whichever needs priority.
It depends. Wala answer nine is not good. Okay, so the take
Family,
break a
family comes
family.
first.
Okay,
Yes.
so uh, when you're promoting, if two people are there equal for leadership position, one is a woman, one is a man, who would be your first choice be? Why?
The person who has the higher potential.
I,
And
assuming
if it
all
is
other
a
variables constant.
constant gender wise, definitely a woman.
Okay, got it. To Veena. So the questions are all, kind of skewed. Okay, it is not either or. I'm just modifying it as I'm going. So, so that's the reason. So, should women focus on maintaining their career trajectory, or should be okay with the little ups and downs and slowdowns along the way?
It's okay, whatever work for them. The curvy career is okay.
Got it. So, in how will you navigate in power dynamics in personal relationships?
By being open and honest,
Okay. So, should companies take more active role in supporting, or should families take more active role in supporting
all
women?
the stakeholders should support.
All, which is more
Family
important.
as well as company. See, company, when a person is approaching for a career gap, so if company can offer a certain skill set, so which will be helpful for further if she decides to come back, right? That would definitely good.
Okay. So, are there alternate paths to leadership, or you take the regular conventional paths?
I think it's more individualistic. It all depends on how you want to take your career path is in your hands. So you have to equip yourself with right skill set, right type of mentorship, and you can grow.
Got
You
it.
can define your own career path.
Got it. Cool. So thank you all. So this is So I don't have questions for you. So so because that is all written for Manjusha, it will be a female oriented
Correct.
question. It will not be right. So I great. So what we'll it's been a great discussion, to be very honest. It's kind of brought about it. What I also wanted to bring about here is that probably a positive contribution that will help women to become better leaders. So either as this is in partnership with Vishwakarma Institute of Technology, so what we want to do is promote more women leaders from Vishwakarma, thereby helping more women leaders emerge out of that. So from the industry perspective, or from being a women leader, what I want is a positive contribution from each of you. It could be like mentorship to students, or helping them with industry research projects that where they can work on, which is more women centered or something like that, or else it could be taking a few interns under your wings and then helping them. They have a year long internship program, so where students can come in and be there for a year without any academic commitments, so they can do that, or else something like that. So with Raghu, we are setting up in talks for setting up a COE at Vishwakarma in Pune, so which is going to be the first in kind of COE in India. So like that, we wanted some positive contribution from each of you. Start with you, Bwana.
Definitely, yes, mentorship. And since I have been associated in the COE program, so the predominant focus will be on the women skilling part. So that's something which I would be focused on.
Got it. Veena.
So, which I've been doing the passion of teaching. So I can take up a short courses or a day seminar kind of a thing. I'll be open to do it. I'll be very happy to
Ah,
pursue to any kind of a, I mean, audience, the
got
student audience.
got it. Perfect. Asha.
Mentorship, and I'm also a trained counselor. So, any counseling sessions that the students need, I'll be happy to help.
Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead, Savi.
yeah, skill development. That's most not only for women or anybody, for our entire country. Skill is most important. There is a gap. So anything technically, definitely in my field, I would be very happy to contribute.
Got it. Thank you very much, all of you, for taking part in this conversation. It was a wonderful discussion. Hope you all enjoyed the conversation equally as well.